Welcome to the introduction of Brain Controlled Sales with Andy Gutierrez of 86percentvisualadvantage.com. This is a U.S. copyrighted program and is only offered through 86percentvisualadvantage.com. Don't you just love it when you're talking with a client or someone and they just don't remember what you said? Yes, the more you talk, the less the client hears. Good afternoon, Andy Gutierrez here for 86% Visual Advantage. I know that the last slide that you saw was a picture of a guy holding his ears, and the caption was, the more you talk, the less the client hears. I know that's kind of hard for us to take, being communicating people, just like we're communicating right now. You are seeing me, but we are talking. So in the past, most of the time people have taught you to ask open-ended questions, correct? Get the client to talk more, open up to you, and for you to be listening to those answers. We should be writing those answers down, because what you're going to find is this, is that the brain controls all this communication. We think we do, but we really don't, because the brain controls even the movements of our hands. So when we start to talk and realize that what we're saying to people is being forgotten as soon as the last word comes out of our mouth, it starts to make us think, or it should start to make us think. So when we're talking to a client, beware. Everything we've been taught about just auditory sales is not complete. Far from it. Less than 10% of communication is through hearing. So let's take a look at the next step that we're going to be looking at over here. And the next step we're going to be looking at is the discovery that happened in 2003. We found out in 2003 there was a major business and behavioral science discovery that 86% of what the brain remembers is visual. We call that visual advantage. Seeing versus hearing. Now, this gigantic discovery that happened in 2003 didn't hit the NBC Nightly News. It wasn't on Good Morning America. But behavioral scientists found out in 2003 that this memory that we've got, right? Because we want people to remember what we want them to remember. How do we do that? All these years, like I said before, everything was thought to be auditory. We spoke, we listened. We spoke, we listened. But then in 2003, by the use of an MRI, it traced the flow of blood through the neurons of the brain and found out that, very, very important for us, that the brain is not auditory or sound dominant, it's visually dominant. And a matter of fact, 86% of what a person remembers, they see. Only 9% they hear. So think about all the presentations that you and I have both done. We've done a heck of a lot of talking. But what do we do about the visual aids we should be using to make people remember those key topics that we want remembered? So we're going to have to find out more about the rules of the game. It's not the rules of the talking game. It's not the rules of showing a product game. It's the rules of the brain game, because the brain controls our memory. And maybe this little slide will help you remember that Albert says 86% of what you remember you see. And this poor gentleman on the right with all the Post-its, well, only 9% of what you remember you actually hear. Now, isn't that a great clip? Our good friend Albert Einstein, good old Al's over there pointing to his head over here, and he's telling you, see? He's telling you. He's saying, don't forget, 86% of what a person remembers, they see. Yeah. And meanwhile, you might be writing your Post-it notes and sticking them all over the place, but if you're not looking at them and you're just hearing them, well, a person only remembers 9% of what they hear. Think about that. Think about when you're doing your presentations. Think about when you're talking to your fellow employees. Think about when you're talking to a manager. Think about it. Think about your communications here. Because the brain can only process so much information And then, you know what happens? It shuts down. No, I've learned this and I researched this. This is not Andy Kucherowicz telling you this. This is all the research that I've done. And I was really taken back when I did this preparation work last fall and found out what behavioral scientists have known all along, but yet us salespeople don't pay attention to behavioral scientists. And a matter of fact, I went to pretty darn good college, and that, as I think most of you have. You went out for a higher education. But what course was taught in selling and communication that said, human behavioral sciences, you should take that course because it's going to help you get a person to remember what you want them to remember. And if you don't believe in 86% visual advantage, we leave you with one last thought. One advantage of talking to yourself is that you know that at least somebody's listening.